Hey everybody, Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat, and we are blessed as heck because we got internet. I don't know how many are going to be here. This could be a real small one, but we're going to do it anyway. I didn't want to keep anybody waiting. I know that there are other creators that are live right now, and I hate stepping on them, but I've got to do what I got to do. I got a night yard coming up. Chili Mansa, good to see you. Henny, good to see you. Roberta, thank you. I'm glad to know I'm your favorite convict. Coleman, good to see you. Nacho's mama, Sweet Liberty. Jennifer, it is always an honor to have you here. Glad you're here. People, this is going to be fun. We're going to recap some stuff from the week. Kate Taylor, good to see you. Hello. Okay, if I've never said hello to you before, welcome to the lifeboat. Mile High Hokey, made alive. We got to make a big deal over that, don't we? Huh? Mile High Hokey? We got to make a big deal over that. Hey, Jody Who, hello again. Hello again. Shag Nasty. Good to have you here. Oh, Susie Q. Michelle Kelly. Russ Hampton saying hello to Anik. Joni, good to see you. Debbie D. Valerie, glad you're here. This is so cool. Look at the crew. We got lucky. Bruce Cook. Gonna one die. I hope I'm close. Nat B, good to see you. Me. Ben Turner. All right, let's fire the ship up. I think we gave that enough of a go around. Lori, good to see you. So this week in true crime here on the boat, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and it has been a super exciting week in true crime because justice got doled out all over God's creation. And how did we all get together in the first place? I mean, every single time somebody comes over to the lifeboat, you hear, I found you through Ron's channel, right? And the Ron channel was the Danny Masterson trial, and everybody remembers Danny Masterson. And would you look at that, people? What's going on around here? That is our producer, if you can believe it. Martha, that part we can't blame on the producer, but that picture we can. The scheduling would be all me. I can never read those things right the way that they're supposed to be. But there is our friend Danny Masterson in better days. Now, folks, everything that man, his life right now is waiting to go to the pen. It's over. And we talked about this week, but there are about 60 years worth of felonies that got committed in the hiding and the cruising across state lines and lying to federal firearms, licensed federal firearms dealers, right? You can't just hand these guns to anybody. You got to hand them to a federal, right? These are licensed federal firearms dealers. That means that everything you do with them, they got to fill out federal paperwork on, and there is a grip of felonies involved in this. This, people, was the start of all of us meeting one another and the unraveling, there's no other way to say it, of this cult of Scientology, right? This is the start of this case, the start of what happened with Danny Masterson and the courageous, right? I got a letter from one of the Jane Does today. And you know what? She was talking about crap that she put up with because of the fact we were out at the protest months ago, but we had been sending letters back and forth. And from that protest, she put up with a lot of crap, and she was talking about that. They're heroes. They're absolute heroes. But what has transpired because of this case has been unreal. Now we're looking at lawsuits that were spawned from this, right? There is a Jane Doe lawsuit right now that is the case that I talked about this week when I talked about how there's an excellent chance we're going to see discovery, right? The depositions of, let's see this arbitration document that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. There is no arbitration document that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. It doesn't exist. Mike Rinder said that this was something that was cooked up long after L. Ron Hubbard's death. This is not religious doctrine. That is what, according to that cult, what makes something religious doctrine is the fact that that man said it, and they copyrighted everything that man said. He's 4 Guinness Book of World Records for being the most copyrighted person on earth. And it's not because, he wrote just, unbelievable. He did write a lot of trash. He did. But they copyrighted everything. So all of the stuff he wrote about Scientology and every single one of those, they put them on the little sections so that they can call them books and pieces of this or whatever. Steve Molesky would like you to use your glutes to hit that like button. Been doing this a hot minute, people. I've never seen anybody ask you to use your glutes when pounding on that, right? If everybody can remember, oh, there he is. There's Lafayette himself. You know, I am so glad that I'm so glad that we got to pull him up. There was a discussion earlier about this man's charisma. If you've never seen this man speak, I'm sorry, people, but this was a guy who was deathly afraid of dentists because, in theory, according to many, much of what this guy ended up doing in his life was based on a really rugged experience he had on nitrous oxide at a dentist's office. I'm not even kidding you. So, because of that, he avoided them like the plague for the rest of the time that he was on planet Earth. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, and he admitted this. Mike Rinder wrote the arbitration policy. Very flawed. Not Lafayette Ron Hubbard. So if that joke over my shoulder had written it, then it is religious doctrine, and it, in theory, would be protected for that reason. It's not. There are 4 lawsuits other than that one that are currently going. How many lawsuits do you think will come if the arbitration gets ruled bogus? If every one of these cases is going to have to be decided by a jury of our peers, who, by the way, are likely listening to an SPTV broadcast somewhere, right? It ain't like there ain't a lot of info on this. This is why it is so important that the whole SPTV badge thing is taken up as a mantle with people who I don't care. Like, seriously, what does your channel do? Because whatever you talk about, I promise you can bust out a few hours every a couple of weeks and say, let's talk about that lousy cult, right? Do it on your off time or whatever. But this is going to be the downfall of this place. It really is. And then, as I've said so many times, you want to talk about a place to give an opportunity to someone who doesn't have a home, to walk them through the entire process and try to put together a really fantastic facility to help people go from without homes to really being on their feet. I think that building right there would be perfect for it. It was a hotel at one time. There's a ton of rooms in that. The Celebrity Center is one of the most impressive buildings in the entire world. It really is. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I'd like to see it on the auction block. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd like to see them have to sell it to pay off all the people that they ripped off, all the families that they separated and destroyed. I'd like to see those lawsuits just start rolling in. And I truthfully think that this is going to happen. So one of the other things, the Adelson case that we were talking. Oh yeah, pull that up, Calhoun. Can we get a picture of that? This building right here. Look at that thing, folks. If you've never seen this in person, the Celebrity Center is one of the most unbelievable pieces of real estate on planet Earth. I'm not kidding. You want to talk about prime real estate? That cult's got to go. That building could just be amazing. And what a place right in the middle of the city to take care of those that need help. What do you think? I'm telling you, I want that puppy. I want that puppy. Lori, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Lori says, is there a potential legal resource against Mike for pending Scientology's arbitration policy? The person to ask that would probably be my lawyer friend, Zach, right? Or your lawyer friend, Zach, I think it's called, right? Isn't it your lawyer friend? Yeah, it's your lawyer friend, Zach. He would really be a cat that could answer that question, right? But that banner right there is killing this church. Don't kid yourself. This SPTV thing is really taking off. And the more people that get involved in it, and I don't care how you do it. I mean, you can be the extreme. You could be standing in front of orgs and screaming at people on their way in to keep them out. Or you could just be mentioning on your channel that this cult systematically destroys families, right? Every time you get a chance. So that the people that watch your content go, damn, Scientology's that bad? Because when individuals on the big red button, people who watch content, long form content, go, really, Scientology's that bad? The next thing they're going to do is they're going to look up Scientology. And you know what they're not going to get? The Church of Scientology. They're going to get an SPTV creator, probably Aaron, at which point they will begin to watch videos and they will see other creators that have been on and it will spread. This is what's happening, man. Juliana, it is your absolute right to do so. I would never, ever ask you to change that. She says, I hate all legit churches too. You know, I personally do not. I do, however, and have always said that I think none of them should be tax exempt. I think that all churches should pay taxes. I think that that is a great thing. Um, Good question. If Danny gets federal time, is that easier time? Absolutely. Absolutely. If Danny gets federal time, he can probably position himself to do a decade of some pretty safe time. And by pretty safe, I mean he's still got a real good chance of getting hit, but nothing like California. In California, his odds of not getting hit, right, are paper thin. In fact, they're non-existent. And in the feds, someone's going to get to him, but it isn't going to happen often. And it isn't, they could absolutely, there's a place called Butner, and they really, really put some high profile freaks there. And they've been able to secure safety for a lot of them. The one issue would be his custody level. The things that Danny did were so friggin' reprehensible that he's not eligible for level 2 and level 3 yards, right? He's going to be on a level 4 yard. So yes and no. I mean, yeah, if he goes to a level 4 yard, he's not going to be any better off in the feds than he would be in the state. However, I think he can probably cut a deal. If he wanted to roll on everybody he knows on planet Earth, he could probably get 10 years in Butner. I don't know why you'd want to stay alive anyway, but for him, if he believes that religion, I think we're going to see him drop the body. And I'm not partying about that. But if you understand what the people believe, why would he stick around? Aaron and I had long conversations about this, and he said, I believe wholeheartedly, this is Aaron talking, that Danny Masterson is a real believer. He absolutely believes this. And if that is the case, then, he very well may just drop the body. Wrinkles are the new 30. What a great handle. Oh, what a great handle. Wrinkles are the new 30. I'm thankful to have you on SPTV. Needs that. Oh, SPTV needs this. Thank you so much. You know what? SPTV needs all of you. You are all SPTV, I promise. As you go from one creator to the next. I mean, this really is something that is it's catching on. It's catching on. You don't run into people ever anymore who don't go, oh yeah, Scientology is a cult. It is absolute standard procedure that it is accepted that it's just a cult. And the more we do this, people, you know what every single cult needs more than anything on earth? I mean, aside from isolation, which is obvious, right? And all of those things. But if they want to sustain, they need new blood constantly. People get old and they die. People go all the way up through the entire thing and you no longer can bill them, or it gets a lot more difficult to bill them, right? You follow me? So you constantly have to be bringing in new blood. You have to constantly bringing in new people. And I just don't see new people going into this cult, right? It's pretty standard. Okay, so this week, I was on Surviving the Survivor. Love Surviving the Survivor. It's one of the coolest channels to go on. Joel's awesome. His mom's awesome. His wife's awesome. It really is a family channel. They're so cool to the guests that they have on, right? You know what? I do not know the answer to this question. I'll be right back to Surviving the Survivor. FCI Sigosville. I've never heard of that one. And if you could tell me what state that's in, I could probably tell you better. But I've never heard of that one. Sigosville. Yeah, I've never heard of that yard. Sorry. And that's odd. But as an FCI, right, as a federal corrections institution, it could be a low, a medium, and a high. It could be any one of the three. If it is an FCI high custody level, then it's fairly violent. And if it's not, then it's fairly tame. The mid-range ones are not particularly violent. Hello, K-Thick89. Good to see you. So I went on Surviving the Survivor. And whilst on Surviving the Survivor, we were talking about it was the day of the Adelson sentencing. If you've been following this case, if you haven't, I'm shocked, right? Because the entire world has been following this case. And it's probably because the victim in this case was from Canada, right? So we already had a big tie into to all of Canada. And the victim's parents are still in Canada. So we knew that there was a big presence that was going to be watching this. This is the Charlie Adelson Charlie Adelson is the hitman that was hired to kill a professor in Florida, a college professor who taught law, Dan Markle. And the Markle family all lives north of the border. This guy is bad people, right? He's really bad people. He was a dentist. He made a ton of money, and he used that money to hire a couple of hitmen from a gang who he then outed publicly in court, right? This is a very, very sticky case. But what happened this week is this man's mother, the matriarch of the family, Donna Adelson, got picked up and arrested, right? Ma got busted. And the reason that Ma got busted, hold on one second. Yeah, mom gets picked up at the airport, and mom was planning on going to Dubai with a layover in Dubai on the way to Vietnam, where she was going to hide out for the rest of her time on this planet. And on a phone call, she said, recorded phone call with her son, right? Knowing people, if you've ever been on a jailhouse phone call, every 5 minutes, without exaggeration, Spanx Calhoun could back me up on this, because he talked to me the whole time that I was in prison. But when you talk to somebody on a prison phone, every 4 to 5 minutes, a recording voice comes on, says, this call is being recorded and monitored. Every single 5 minutes. There's no point at which you would think to yourself, it's safe to talk. But she talks about how she's going to, if she can't get out of the country, there's a suicide pact with her and her husband. It's over. She's just going to take her life. She's busted. And if you listen to the tapes closely, it sounds like she implicates Wendy, right? When she talks to Wendy, Wendy is a lawyer. Wendy is a very careful person. In every text and in every message, she is very clear to say, I said everything truthful on the stand. I did not, I had nothing to do with his death. I'm sorry that what happened to my brother happened to him, but I had nothing to do with this. Like, that's what she repeats over and over and over again. But this is a bad woman. Bruce Osmond says, question, if they take in $500 million a year, he's talking about the cult of Scientology, how can the victims be anything else than a thorn in their side? You know what? This is what happens, Bruce. What happens is they've always been able to dodge this because nobody really could get into the court. But the number of people that have been through Scientology who have spent thousands and thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, leave that up there, Kellen. That spent, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, millions. If they all can now take a run, 500 million a year could get eaten up in lawsuits in the first 6 people that went through the door. Once you start putting in compensatory damages for pain and suffering, splitting up families. I mean, when now everybody can take these people to court and they're no longer protected, you watch. You're right. I mean, if it was just a matter of the fact that all they had to do was settle these 5 lawsuits, they're going to come out of the woodwork. Every person who left Scientology who said, this is a ripoff, could never go back and say, I want back my money. I spent 80 grand with you people, or I spent 150, and then you tell me about Xenu? Like, when I got in here, you said there was no higher power. There was none of this. There was no, I want my money back. And in the past, the courts have said, well, you're going to have to go deal with that, aren't you? Go deal with that. You guys have an arbitration thing that is sacrosanct. Well, they're deposing this BS sacrosanct crap, and I think it has the potential. And I could be, we'll see. I've been wrong before, my friend. I went to prison. I've been wrong on a lot of things, right? But I am pretty confident that the reason that we're seeing what's happening is because judges now have the huevos to go, you know what? No, I do want to see it. Bring it in here, because they're getting tired of what Scientology has done. And the Danny Masterson trial put that on full display. Now, that lovely woman right there is the matriarch of the family, right? That's the matriarch of the family, and not a particularly great person. The lifeboat. Glad you made it, Kat. I'm not sure how that lifeboat got there. I thought I was the lifeboat, but all right. This is working, people. Oh, this is working. Okay. This woman is is probably looking at the rest of her life in prison. She's also having a very, very difficult time getting off suicide watch because over the very long conversation that she had with her son, she talked a lot about offing herself. So they are very, very serious about not leaving her alone. Now, there's been a lot of really weird talk about how that phone call got recorded. You only hear Donna talking. Her son's gone. The phone hung up, but somehow the prison the prison continued, or the jail, wherever he's at. I'm sorry, he's still at jail. The jailhouse continued to record, right? What happens very often, and if you've done time, you can attest to this. Russell backed me up on this. If you're being segregated off from anybody else inside, then you're probably in a unit that the phone isn't a phone like you've ever seen before. It doesn't have a receiver. There is no cord. There's none of that. Why? Because guys tend to hit each other with them. They also tend to smack them down on the thing when they get angry at their girl, right? So it ends up smashing stuff and destroying stuff. It's just bad juju. Feel me? So what they do instead is there's a silver box. It's made of stainless steel. It's as hard as a stone, right? And on it, you got the 9 digits of a keypad, or the 12 digits, whatever, of a keypad. And then there's a little circle. And that little circle is your mouthpiece and your ear hole. And you don't hang that phone up. The person on the other end hangs up, bang the phone. The person on the other end hangs up, right? You don't have a connector. There's a thing that turns it on, but normally a convict talks for 15 minutes. The call is terminated because that's the longest you're able to make a call. He bailed off that call before he got to the 15 minutes. He walked away, right? Ma didn't hang up the phone. For whatever reason, she set that thing down. I assure you that's what happened. And if you listen to the quality of that, the recording, it goes in and out of volume. And I think the phone probably got set down. And I think the woman was walking away and coming back and walking around. But it's damaging. It is damaging. Yeah, that recording will go on until they run out of the money on the account. If you bought yourself a $100 phone card, they'll keep running that thing until you're out of money, right? Or 15 minutes is up, one or the other, but it's going to keep running. I promise you. I've made that mistake when Joel from Surviving the Survivor was talking about how I just don't understand how that could happen. I'm like, it has happened to me. I promise you. I mean, not the recording part of it, but the walking away part and getting billed for the entire for the entire shooting match. This family, this is one of the most evil damn families on the planet. If you go and you really look at this case, what it really came down to is the simple fact that number one, she wasn't happy living in the city that she was in, and she did not want her ex-husband to have control over the kids and how they were raised. And it was just, if they could have been a divorce that people got along. Numerous judges have commented on how ugly the proceedings for the divorce were. How the fact that these two literally were fighting over a tennis racket for days on end. This is just a horrible group of people. I'm really sorry. And the worst part is the professor who was killed. That family is amazing. Dan Markle and his entire family are just the sweetest people on planet Earth. When you see the two families juxtaposition, right? You see the Adelsons and all of their horror. I mean, these people are just a friggin' nightmare. And when you compare them to the family that they destroyed by hiring a hitman, and the joking about it at dinner, like, this is a sick, sick family. And I tell you what, and he loved his kids. No, that the college professor, by everybody's account, was a friggin' ace. Like, this dude was just an ace, just an ace. And they killed him like a dog. It was an awful, awful thing to happen. But justice is finally happening. And I'll tell you, it's sad for the kids. It really is. But those kids are probably going to end up where they should have been in the first place, which is nowhere near this family. He should be with the kids should be with the other set of grandparents. And I don't think there's going to be anybody left for the kids to go to, sadly, except them, because there they are. When Wendy was first married, and If you see Wendy take the stand, she's a lovely girl, got an unbelievable kind of delivery, super slick. I don't buy any of it. I don't know if you people feel the same way, but when you, Jane Sever, good to see you. Long time lurker, first time commenting on a live. Well, that is the coolest thing ever. Lori, thank you. Wasn't the family using code words in their communications? I'll tell you what, I'm going to do another show on this probably tomorrow, and I'm going to bring the tapes on and we're going to play them, and I'll let you listen to them. There were times when they talked that there are absolutely code words that were used. The damning stuff was when she didn't know she was being recorded. That's when it's really bad. There's also a period of time where she's talking to her son, and I think she realizes that it's all over but the crying, if you know what I'm saying. Like, she realizes that she's either going to be out of the country or dead. And she's talking just like that. She's talking like one way or the other, this is going to be over, because if I can't get out of the country, I'm killing myself, right? That was her plan. And that's how she talked on the phone. She talked like she didn't care who was listening. I've listened to every one of the tapes. And no, she talks like she does not care. Yeah, there's dad with his kids, which is just horrible. By the way, people, this is this was a hit that the people that did this were about as heartless as any human beings on earth. Yeah, this is really a great point. Wendy stooped so low that she took away Dan's surname from his sons and changed it to Adelson. She did everything within her power to erase this man from history, not just past and present, but future, right? Like, everything about this person she wants gone. And that is one of the most disgusting things of all time. Yeah, she didn't hang the phone up because he couldn't, right? If it had been a receiver, right, that had that, all you got to do is hang up one of them. But because there was no chance, sorry. Thank you, Spike Z. Subscribe, please, because monetization is a good thing. It really is. It pushes the boat out farther, right? Having a partner like the Big Red Button to push this out a little bit farther, it really does help the boat. It's how we do what we do, people. It's how we do it, and it's fun. Yeah. So I'm so disagreeing with what's disgusting right now. Do you mean with what's being discussed? Well, then go, please. Don't stick around if you don't like what I'm talking about. Come back. We do a bunch of different shows. Stop back. Don't stick around if you don't like it. For real, but bust a move. I wouldn't want anybody sticking around if they're not enjoying it or if I'm bumming them out. Lord Kiss Freak, tell me, did you see the protest on Lara TV last night? I did. And if you did not see the protest on Lara TV last night, then you missed huge, right? Huge. She saw her dad. It was, you know what? I'm not going to ruin this. Go and see it. Go over and check it out, please. Go. Okay, thanks. Please come back, Juliana. Please come back. I would absolutely love for you to come back. The next one we're talking about is the Ruby Frankie case. A bunch of you are following the Ruby Frankie case. Ruby Frankie has got she was the woman that had the YouTube channel called like 8 and Magical or 8 and something. She was the super mom. She was a Mormon woman, lived in Utah, and put out. She's a nut job. There's no question. Kelly says she's nuts too. And a much worse kind. If you really want to know the truth, a much worse kind. 8 passengers. Thanks, Ben Turner. Yeah, she is nuts. She had thanks, Ben. She had a channel called 8 Passengers. The 8 Passengers channel was really something. There she is. She's lovely looking, isn't she? She was hot and I mean, she was bubbly and happy, and always on talking about her kids. And if you ever watched her content, it started out very much housewife stuff. Being a mom, a housewife, sort of the perfect family kind of a thing. And then the longer it was on, it was the kids' lives. Like, this was absolutely disgusting. This was a woman that filmed her kids doing virtually everything. She filmed her daughter buying her first bra. At one point, I saw a documentary her daughter did, and she said if you typed in the first 5 letters of my name, it went on and then said first period, like her menstruating for the first time, and it finished the search for you. Okay, there's something wrong, right? And everybody on YouTube, because you people tend to be really intelligent, right? Because you people tend to be wicked intelligent, the YouTube audience freaked out, right? The YouTube audience went nuts. What's going on? This woman is abusing her kids. She held up a teddy bear talking about to her child saying, I will cut the head off of this teddy bear. A 3-year-old doesn't get the fact that this is a teddy bear, right? My son can attest to this. He had the greatest stuffed dog in the entire world. But I would have to drive 9 miles back to school if he left it at the school because there was no sleeping without that dog. To him, that dog was very much alive. Yes, I am. Question, are you going to govern the court tomorrow? She's supposed to take a deal. Yes, I am, Cinderella. I will absolutely be covering that. And the deal that this is the rumor, right? So we obviously, there's only one deal she can cut, right? So we know she's rolling on Jody, on Jody Hildebrand, right? This is a foul woman. This Hildebrand woman is the most disgusting human being of all time. Truthfully, the abuse. Thank you, sweet Liberty. You know what? I get along great with my kids now. I really do. I wasn't necessarily always a great dad, but I'm pretty happy with the dad I am today. And I spend a ton of time with my kids, and I really dig it. We talk constantly. Did Ruby Frankie use that abomination of a child raising book? Not only did she went into business with Jody Hildebrand, and the two of them, by all accounts, had a suspiciously close relationship. Right around the time she moved in, she being Jody, and by the way, she moved in. She moved into their home, their wedding home, right? Husband, wife, Jody. Jody systematically destroys the marriage and gets the guy run out of the house, right? Logical, makes a lot of sense. I think the two of them had a relationship. I absolutely do. I'll tell you why, right? Here's why. Now, Ruby's had history of abusing people in the past. It's not new for her. This is not the first time abuse has been brought up in this woman's life. But what she did to her kids, leaving them tied up, right? Ligature marks that went to the bone. The 911 call of the next door neighbor who found her child, that's one of the greatest guys. If you listen to him, he's just a good human being. And he doesn't want to say in front of the kid. Like, you can totally listen to the call. The kid is right there because he's describing what's going on. Thanks, DW. I really appreciate you. Too kind. But he's on the phone and he's talking, and he says, no, this boy, he's got marks. Oh, and he's got him on his wrist, and he doesn't want to say the word kidnapped. You can hear it. He's like, he's been, and I think the word he came up with was detained was the word that he finally settled on. And he just weeps when he says it. It's one of the saddest things ever. He's just a good man. But to leave a child like that, vicious drug habit, right? What does that? Vicious drug habit or a relationship? Somebody that, I mean, look at the Chad and Lori Daybell case, right? Same crap. When you're so in love with somebody that is such a cult leader kind of personality, I think that she fell completely under the spell. I think she's an evil, you know what? I mean, just an absolute evil human being to start with, and susceptible. But Jody is absolutely the worst. Oh boy, Juliana. Oh boy, Juliana. Oh boy, Juliana. Here's the deal on this. This isn't something that I take any joy in putting up there, but if you do any research on this, the amount of money that was being channeled to Jody through the church is astounding. She was getting all of her customers directly from bishops, right? That were seeing people and saying, "Oh, you got to go see her." What, you looked at porn on your phone once? shuffle it on down the line, right? This really became terrifying stuff. Ben Turner, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Ben. Yeah, Nat B, this is just super creepy. She is absolutely pure evil. Oh, he was also emaciated. He was starved. I mean, to not, yeah, there's that evil. Boy, is she just a lovely human being. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, he was so emaciated. The level of evil that takes. And I'll tell you what else we're going to be talking about this week. And I will give tons of people warnings ahead of time. This evil woman that starved her kid to death, and fed him only bread and Carolina Reaper capsaicin sauce. Like this woman, I promise she was going to hell. If you can imagine what capsaicin cramps are like, they're the worst thing in the world. But we're going to talk about that real quickly this week because so many people have reached out and asked about it. Honestly, I hate talking about anything that has kids in it like that because it kills me. It tears me apart. But Michelle, you're right. The 911 call is absolutely friggin' heartbreaking. It is one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard in my life because that would be you, right? There's nobody listening to me right now that doesn't know that would be you. You would be looking at that child just horrified and knowing that that's your next door neighbor who you've thought is a sick piece of crap your entire life. And now all of that theory is right there in front of your eyes. That had to be hell. That had to be hell. I can't imagine what that man went through, but he just sounded like such a good human being. And I felt so bad for him. Mischief Managed says for squirrel treats. Hey, for all of you cat lovers, the little treats that you get and you squeeze the stuff out the top of it, and the cat takes the stuff out the top. It almost looks like a toothpaste tube or whatever, but you squeeze up this like cat treat stuff. I have never seen my cat freak out for anything more in my life. I saw somebody. I went on a little date a while ago to the cat cafe. Had a great time. And I saw somebody in there feeding one to a cat. So when I went into PetSmart, I went and looked for him and I found him. Oh my God in heaven, Kyle. Kyle, I'm not going to lie to you. I cannot imagine. I can't imagine what that's like. And you know what? This is the kind of thing that, honest to God, this is the kind of thing that I didn't think about until I got sober, got out of prison and started to get my life together. That there are people that have to listen to this stuff. There are people that have to, like my case was, I think that they probably laughed a lot in my case. You know what I mean? Once I was busted, I was cutting up like I do here, and nobody got hurt physically. I know I scared people. I did, but I didn't kill anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. And it was, and I know that's a justification. I know that it is, but I just can't imagine what these people go through who go in and hear about, child cases. And those people at the end of the day, they're still people. They got to go home and try to leave that at work. My heart goes out to you, my brother, because I'm sure you relive that phone call all the time. I don't know how you couldn't. Tommy, question: what do you think the punishment should be for this monster masquerading as a human being? If you're referring to Ruby, or you're referring to the hot sauce woman should be shot in the back of the head. I'm sorry. I don't see any other way that person should not be allowed to be around other inmates. There are people in there that should not have to be near someone like that. I'm serious as hell. There are inmates in there that would like to turn their life around. They should not have to look at somebody that did that to a human being. Systematically starved a child off the planet. No, they should take them out back and put one between their ears. Sorry if you just, yeah, I wouldn't even bother with the lightning, Lady J, but I understand what you're saying. I would just shoot them. Like as soon as they had the thing worked out, I would say, let's get a blood type on this monster and see if we can use the skin for a burn victim of a kid. You know what I mean? Like the integumentary system. And then let's harvest the lungs, the corneas. Let's get everything off of this wretched human being that we can, so that maybe something could come out of this. And then put one right in the back of her skull cap. Now, as far as this eight mom woman who had the YouTube channel, I think that she should get 15 years on every count. It carries 1 to 15 years on every single count she's pleading guilty to. It's not the first time she's done it. She's going to cut a deal on Jody. So if she's willing to go full on state's evidence and scare the crap out of the world with what she's willing to tell us about Jody and the tie-ins to the church and all of that, she wants to spill her guts on all of that. Give her 5 years per sentence, right? So she gets out in 15 at a minimum 30 at the outset. That's what that woman deserves. 15 to 30 years. And those kids deserve to have somebody take care of them that doesn't want to hurt them, right? Because that's pretty sick crap. I'm sorry. I have no patience for that. Does the lifeboat need a benefits package, inclusive of health, dental, and a 40K plan? Since that is my business. You know what? I hope in the near future it does. I really hope in the near future that it does. My employee base will be growing, and at which point we'll be talking about that. But damn, he said it in front of Spanx. I mean, he's always looking for what he can get. Yeah, my son needs dental. And it starts. See, I knew it. See, this is the problem when you bring family into anything. And it starts. His sister's working on this too. Good Lord, I'm done. No, I dreamed of this my entire life. I swear to God. The day that I walked into prison, I thought of doing it had a different name at the time, but I dreamed of doing it and bringing my kid with me. I swear to God, I did. Calhoun's super talented. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that was probably not the nicest thing to say, but I did do this to myself, inappropriate heifer. But I believe that they should just remove these people from the planet. They're not. I don't see them rehabbing. I'll be really honest with you. And there's certain crimes that there's a lot of science to back up that these people don't get better, right? They don't get better. What they have is a disease that doesn't get cured, right? So you just have to keep them away from people forever. You have to either give them life sentences or just, I think maybe we need to come to the conclusion that sometimes there's wiring that's so bad that person just needs to be removed from Earth. And I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings. Really, I am. But I've done time and I've stared some of these people in the eye, and I promise you, you see people in there who they hurt people in the real world, and then they go into prison. And the guys in prison that have victims written on their forehead are not guys like me, right? They're guys that screwed up on one deal, right? One deal they screwed up on. They did one stupid thing. And a lot of times the guy will go in there on a white collar crime to a camp, right? He did something stupid on Wall Street. The guy's got a vicious cocaine problem. So they send him to this camp, and instantly he starts doing dope, right? Fails a drug test. They send him to a different camp, slightly higher custody level. He fails a drug test. Now he's at an FCI, and they're wanting him to maybe put a little work in or whatever. And the next thing you know, this dude that went into a camp is now at a USP, and there are dudes up there that are going to victimize this guy, right? Well, those people shouldn't exist. People that get their rocks off victimizing people shouldn't be in a prison system victimizing people any more than they should have been on the street doing it. Right? If those people can't be controlled, even in that environment, well, then perhaps they just can't fit in on this earth. That's my opinion. And I understand that there are people that will take umbrage with that, but I don't think those people should be on this earth. Anna says, man, I appreciate you, Tommy. Christmas is always hard for me. I lost my dad on November 13th, 15 years ago. Addiction is hereditary. I am so certain this is accurate. Yeah, it is hereditary. There is amazing amounts of science to back this up. It's not, sadly, particularly predictable. Mile High Hokey says, Tommy, do women's prisons have similar internal justice systems as men's prisons do, i.e. zero tolerance for inmates who commit SA abuse or unaliving children? Now, women have their own set of rules, to be sure, in there that they go by. My understanding is that women that abuse kids do not do pretty well in there, right? A lot of moms in there. And it's so easy as someone that ends up in prison to look at the guy across the table or the gal across the table and go, you're in here for selling drugs? Okay, I can see that, right? May not be a great decision, but we're all in here for breaking the law. And I can understand why you were selling drugs. You wanted money. This was something that you thought man, this is my ticket, right? And I'm going to take that chance. And maybe it's not a good idea, but I'm going to take that chance. That makes sense to an inmate. But when you have to explain that what you did was you hurt a child, there's nobody in the room that goes, oh, yeah, no, I can see that. Nah, I get that. Makes sense. There's nobody that thinks that. So they're always going to be in trouble, whether they're men or women. And thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate you. Super chat. I don't know what they're called. There's a super sticker. Z-Dub. Thank you, my friend. Z-Dub is just, you are about as consistent as Old Faithful. What do you call an elf who won't share? A scavenge? Is there a joke in here? Elfish. You know what? 7th, always timely, right? Always has the seasonal stuff. And the man wrote the book on dad jokes. And if he didn't, he certainly bought a few. The man knows some dad jokes. We are checking the tablet. I got a bunch of emails from you about the show earlier with Reese. We had a really good time. That was fun. It really was. Pebbles, it's excellent to see you. Glad that you're here. Let me see something here real quick, people. Swiss vape? Could it be? That's awesome. Vapor, good to see you, my friend. So after tonight's show, people, right? We're going to do a quick, and I do mean a quick, 5 to 7 minute turnaround. And then we're going full night yard where Russ and I are coming on, and we are going to do question and answer on all things having to do with prison and convicts, and ready to roll. Swiss, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Whoa, look at this. You know what? The chat's moving quick. Tommy, you were in prison. I think your opinion on what is deserved maybe holds more weight. Thank you, Renee. I'm telling you, here's what I found in prison. And I've probably said this on the boat 100 times, but I'll say it again. When you get in there, you find a group of guys that it's really obvious that they were in there because they were trying to get money. These people picked crime because they didn't think they could make money any other way, and that's why they're in prison. And it makes up a pretty good-sized chunk of the population. However, everyone in that population also did drugs, because when you take drugs and drug habits and put everything into play, they say it's 80%. That 80% of people who come in are in there one way or another for drugs. Now, oddly, I don't get thrown in that mix. Bank robbers don't get put in there, but I robbed every bank I ever walked into, right? Every single bank I ever walked into. I never went in there to get money. I went in there to get heroin, right? I just had to trade the paper, but that, you know what? 7th wishes he said that. You know what else is hereditary? Yeah, diarrhea. It runs in your genes. Yes. Yes, that was said. And hey, Vape, you all right, brother? Please do hit the like buttons, people. That actually helps. Hit that thumbs up thing. And you know what, people? If you've not hit subscribe, hit subscribe. Believe it or not, 50% of you haven't. You believe that? Half the people here have not. I had a friend that said, you got to just make it members only chat. Subscriber only chat. I don't want to do that. Got to run. Buy Squirrel something yummy for Christmas. Thank you so much, Lori R. I promise you that I will. Squirrel is spoiled. Do you know that? I think I got either 2 or 3 PayPals where people sent directly to PayPal. Like they went to the page and went over and found the PayPal thing and just sent it direct. And every one of them, nobody said, "Hey, Tommy, every one of them said, "Hey, this is for Squirrel. Get her something nice for Christmas." So I really am going to go out and shop and just deck the cat out. I love buying toys for Squirrel. I really do. The sagging pants thing did come from jail, not from prison. It came from jail. It was a thing. That's the word, right? That's the word. I'll be honest with you. It was after my time. So when this is explained to me, it was explained to me by Q, and I tend to trust him. But Q said that it was a thing. Late 80s, in the early 90s is when it first started. It was just a sympathy thing. When if your homeboy, like if your ace deuce got sent in, then you wouldn't wear a belt until the dude got sent out, because if you've ever got sent to county jail, you most often get a pair of pants that's like a size 55, right? Because every pair of pants in there has been worn by somebody that was just way too big for him. And yeah, so that was that. According to Q, that was the thing. I missed all that. I promise you, people, I'm so glad I did. You could not have gotten me to sag my pants. Russ knows string belt, right? Or a piece of a sheet. And you do that by either running it all the way through, which a lot of guys will do, or you just take it, you put 2 holes in and tie it. God bless your mother, Anna. Holy hell, God bless your mother. That is not something we hear a lot. When I started reading that, Anna, I thought that was going to end so much worse than it did. Thank God. Every time somebody says my brother or my sister was a fentanyl, it always ends with we lost him, 2 months ago or 6 months ago. It's this fentanyl thing is no joke, people. What is my email again? It is the word sober, SOBER at myyahoo.com. Folks, I'm running probably 4 days behind. Just keeping it real. I'm running about four, maybe 4.5 days behind, but I never blow people off. I promise you I get there, but I'm running behind. I think it looks ridiculous. And as a mom, I want to yell is pull your pants up. Well, let me tell you something, Mom. It doesn't happen inside. They lose their mother-loving mind. If somebody sags even slightly in the feds, the cops will lose their mind. It is one of the few battles that they have chosen to fight, and they fight it, right? There is no sagging in the federal prison system, and they have zero tolerance. Zero. One me. I was talking to a very close friend of mine earlier, and we were texting, and they were talking about, the person said, I don't have a lot of friends. I said, all of my friends are dead. I have one that made it through, who I talk to every once in a while, and Alan Ballantyne is my best friend. But he is, he is a new addition to the lineup. All of my old friends are gone. They all died, and that's just. And I look back and I wonder how much we were friends and how much was dope anyway. You know what I mean? Like I have memories, and like Jack and I get together and we'll laugh about all of the people that we used to hang out with, and we tell great stories, but I honestly don't know if those people cared for me more than the fact that I usually had a clean rig with me, I wasn't a guy that did dirty needles, so I usually had a bag of them. That usually made you pretty popular. I have learned so much about fent since I've been in the boat. Rest assured, I will never do meth again. Way too scary. God bless you. Do you hear that, people? If you're doing meth today, you got no idea how the odds that you're going to get fent with it. This is the perfect drug to deal. They have a vested interest to put it in everything, right? In everything. A drug that makes you have to come back 4 or 5 hours later, or you get viciously ill, is a wet dream for a drug dealer, right? You want your people calling you 3 and 4 times a day. And you want to keep it real, people? I'll keep it real. You want them to be able to come to you and say, here, what do you give me for this? Or I'll blow you, right? Let's have sex. Whatever it takes, because that's the level that it gets to, right? If you knew how many times I had to wait in a car for either a guy or a girl to finish performing on the dude that I was about to buy from, it's the most disgusting world that these people are forced to be living in right now. And what's horrific is we could stop it. I'm telling you right now, we could stop it, and we're not. Sadly, we are not. I did not know Scott Peterson. I did time with Drew Peterson. The Scott Peterson was the dirtbag that had a girlfriend, right? That killed his wife, or was convicted of killing his wife right around Christmas time. He went fishing, right? And then she ended up washing up on shore, and she was pregnant at the time, 9 months pregnant at the time. He's a bad guy. Did an interview that was really, really kind of became a famous interview. I think it's referred to as the Xanax interview now, almost by everybody in true crime, because he's zannied out, and he makes a bunch of screw ups through it. He was obviously stressed out and decided to take a bunch of Xanax, but it was not a really good idea. You know what's really funny, people? This will be good for a laugh. Somebody just wrote, I opted in for all notifications. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're just going to let this person know we are live now. It's just that's wicked funny that so it just popped up. I just happened to look over and see it on the top of my screen. Yeah, you know what? Thoughts and prayers to everybody that's still out there in this, huh? It is pretty ugly out there. All right, people, this is going to give me about 7 minutes to do a turnaround. So everybody go get a cup of coffee, and we're going to shift gears, and we're going to Night Yard. Trank is absolutely horrible, and we have lost 2 crew members on the lifeboat to Trank in 2023. It's a terrible drug. I take Bama Guy 46 says, Tommy, I had an escort friend that had to take Suboxone every day. Yes, I was her client. I take Suboxone every day myself. I take almost a microdose, but I do take Suboxone every single day, and I don't think I'll ever stop. I've gone completely off of it twice, and I don't like the person that I am when I'm off it. I find myself romanticizing the drug and going through all that again, and I feel nothing when I take it. So I don't know. For my money, it's just a whole lot safer to keep doing this and keep running the boat. What are we talking about next? We're going to Night Yard. We are talking about prison. These are all questions prison. Anything you want to know. This is about state and federal prison, and all questions are open and on the table. So all you got to do, spin around, get yourself a cup of coffee, come right back. We will be here in 5 minutes after the hour. We're live at 5 after. So I will see all of you. And you know what? There's a rumor that the cat will be in the basket. This is about the time of night she gets up. So we should be able to see her here shortly. All right. We'll see all of you here on the Night Yard. Russ gets saddled up. And on the other side of the glass, people, is my boy, Spanks Calhoun. Spanky, where you at? Look at that. Spanky, God bless, man. We'll see you on the next one. You are the man. Yes. See that? It's a family affair, people. I got the kid in the back office. How cool is that? That is my son, Spanks. All right, people. We'll see you on the next one here shortly. God bless. I'm Captain Tommy. Bye-bye.